On this episode of CARPe diem, retail. What's next? Businesses are adapting. We find out how with our guests Martin Hillier, Miran Madani, John Clarides, and Anita Hoberman.
CARPe diem, seizing the day for Canadians as we age.
Welcome. After months of closures, many stores and services are starting to open again. Many have had to adapt and innovate quickly. I spoke to Martin from the Lounge Hair Studio about opening his doors, safety protocols, and the need for haircuts. As a client, what do I see? What do I experience when I walk into your hair salon as we reopen?
Well, that's interesting, Carmen, because it's a welcoming industry. Your clients become friends. You know them over many, many years, and there's the little things: the tea and coffee, the biscuits, the magazines to read. The information that you share about your lives that's so intimate. Well, the information and the sharing and the love and the friendship stays, but the magazines, the opportunity to bring your pets into the salon, the amount of distance that we have to keep, that all changes. And, wearing masks is going to be mandatory for everybody, and only having so many people in at a time. So our team now has to work shifts.
It has been around the world. I need to get my hair cut. What is it?
It's been interesting and it's been fun. And, we've always been, I feel, I'm very lucky. I've been in this industry a long time, and I think we've been very appreciated by the public, our friends, our clients. But I think there's a new onus on it now. We're feeling quite proud of what we do and the fact that we're needed so much, and can't wait to see people again.
Have you been able to generate any cash flow during the 8 weeks that you've been shut down?
No, that's a no-no for us, and also from the government perspective. If we're going to be off, we need to be off. If we're going to be in, then we need to be in. Yeah. The good thing is that professional products can still be bought online. And so throughout this time, I think people have found that a great comfort, or something that they can do. The blondes that still want to get their silver shampoo, and the people that want their professional masks and things for their hair, all of that is online through the professional sites. And so you don't just have to go to the drugstore to rely on everything, which is good.
Martin, your final thoughts. What do you want to leave our audience with?
It's the beginning of the end, and it's the start to see how we can move forward. They've said that there could be a second round, and let's get people in while we can. If there has to be another short break, then so be it. But we're just really looking forward to seeing everybody again, and try not to cut those bangs, try not to do those things, try and just wait and come and see us, because we're waiting for you.
When we come back, we talk to another small business owner about opening his skin laser clinic.
Still ahead on CARPe diem.
But we have to make sure that they are in a good condition. They are not sick, and our staff are not sick, and I'm not sick. So if they are eligible, if they are okay, then we can accept them.
CARPe diem, seizing the day for Canadians as we age.
Welcome back. We all want to look good and feel good, but how can we with so many of our beauty and wellness spas still closed? I spoke to Miran, the owner of Ariane Skin Laser, for some at-home solutions. Now, we've gone through phase 1 reopening, and now they're looking at phase 2. Are you part of the new phase 2?
I believe we are part of phase 3. That would be in June or in September, I think.
Are you in the same category as, say, nail and hair salons?
Yes. It's wellness and beauty.
I want to ask you, when a client walks into Ariane Skin Laser Clinic, what is it going to look like now?
First of all, we try to accept people as soon as we are allowed to be open. So we have to keep the waiting area not to be crowded, and we have to put some masks and sanitizer available. Also a shield or a partition in front of the front desk. to protect both staff and people and clients. And yeah, during the treatment, I believe we might have some shields and face shields and masks.
But your clients can't really wear the face coverings because most of the treatments are on the face, right?
Yes, but we have to make sure that they are in a good condition. They are not sick, and also our staff are not sick, and I'm not sick. So we will send them a questionnaire that, you know, history of travel, so any signs of sickness like cough, like fever. If they are eligible, if they are okay, then we can accept them.
How have you managed to just get through it?
So we would be able to be in contact with our clients through, you know, online or contacting them through emails and phone calls to provide them the suggestions and advices about maintaining the result of the treatment that they have already done. They have, you know, spent money for that. They have invested for that, so they had to keep the results. So we could be able to send them products.
Does this mean that you've expanded your business into home care as well now?
Yes, exactly. Yes. So I found some interesting products from Antiage from US. So it's kind of maintaining the effect of the lasers and procedure that we have already done on the patients. So it's easily could be done by the client at home. It's refined microneedles. They can use this stamp just to implement the solution into their skin. For example, this is a helmet. Mm-hmm. So this is for hair growth and thickening of the hair, strengthening the hair follicles. So I was using this at home. Yes, this is a helmet. So yeah, it has some lasers inside. You can see that.
Oh.
So this is a kind of low-level laser or LED therapy. So we offered that to clients who were couldn't be able to come to our clinic to do the injections for PRP for the scalp and for hair regrowth. So this could help in maintaining the results.
Maren, what does the new normal look like for you?
I think we have to be more careful about our body and mind. So the health of mind is as important as health of our body. So I would say our mind and body are our home. So we have to learn how to love it. We have to learn how to live in it. So taking care of our skin, our hair, our health would be the first priority. So, and life is precious, so we have to take care of us.
Yes, indeed. Life is precious. When we come back, we'll raise a glass of wine with John Clerides, the owner of Marquee Wine Cellars.
Still ahead on Carpe Diem.
As we all know, BC wines rely heavily on tourism. If this continues, they are in serious jeopardy of missing that whole tourist season.
Carpe Diem. Seizing the day for Canadians as we age.
Welcome back. Wine stores were deemed an essential service, which was a good thing for our next guest. We asked John Clerides, the owner of Marquee Wine Cellars, how he adapted. So tell me what systems you had already implemented that you were ready to just go.
Well, first with the internet website. The other thing that's happened is the government, after years and years of lobbying, finally allowed us to deliver wines. And the last game changer is a few years ago is Canada Post is doing wine delivery. So those three things put together, along with our store remodel, our shipping station, it's all systematized, and our computer processes. Waiting for some moment that web sales would do this. And it's been, a slow growth. And in 4 weeks, we've had, 5 years worth of growth.
So right now, during the time of COVID, where so many companies are suffering, yours is flourishing.
Well, liquor sales in general are up 40%. So it's not only me, but it's private liquor stores, government stores. I heard, I think liquor stores sales are up 40%, and that roughly reflects what's transpired throughout the whole industry in terms of retail.
How do you think that the wine industry itself is adapting, and what do they need to do?
As we all know, BC wines rely heavily on tourism, wine tourism, people that like to go up to the Okanagan or Vancouver Island. So that's gonna, if this continues, they are in serious jeopardy of missing that whole tourist season. Already they're missing restaurants. They can't sell the restaurant because restaurants are closed. So if British Columbia, and we can change our laws, we're allowed to ship all across Canada without fear of reprisals, then if a population of 4 million people, they'd have a population of 34 million people to sell their wine.
How do you think that the rules and regulations need to adapt in order to support the industry as it comes back?
The government changed the rules and regulations. It's only good till July 20th, but restaurants are allowed to serve takeout wine and beer now. Before they weren't allowed to. Sky hasn't fallen. That should stay.
Did you supply restaurants typically?
No, we're not allowed to. The government won't let us. We've been trying for 35 years to allow to sell wine to restaurants, and they refuse. A restaurant, they have to order full case lots from government, whereas they could come into my store and buy 2 bottles of this, 3 bottles of that, 4 bottles of that, buy what they need. Additionally, we deliver. So they can get on the phone, John, I need this, this, and this, and we can either take it by bike because we're so close to downtown, or send it by courier. So there's a carbon impact on that too. It's a matter of convenience.
What would be your final thoughts to our viewers?
We'll all get through this. Difficult times builds resiliency. And we haven't had that in a very long time in Canada, probably since the end of World War II. We've had our ups and downs, but I remember talking to my dad, who's 94 this July, and he said, he's from Cyprus, and he said, I never thought I'd see 2 of these events in my life. And I said, Pop, which is the first one? He said, in the 30s, the locusts came and ate all the crops. He's from a small island in the Mediterranean called Cyprus. But, we're in Canada. We'll get through this, do some reading, resiliency. What did people do? We have the internet. What did they do 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago? How did they survive? How did they cook? What did they do? How did they occupy themselves? And we'll all get through it, and we'll be hopefully a little bit better, a little bit smarter, a little bit more resilient.
For every bottle of wine that John sells, he donates $2 to St. Paul's Hospital. My colleague Dean Atwell showcases another company making our frontline workers' lives a little more comfy. Watch this, and we'll be right back.
Many hospital staff across Canada are currently working long hours and extra shifts to keep up with the pandemic. As such, a British Columbia-based furniture store is helping out by providing frontline workers with a little comfort during COVID.
In the Greater Vancouver area, there are 2 brothers, Tim and Gerald, who own the 4 Lazy Boy stores. They've owned them for over 20 years now.
Joseph, tell me about yourself. How are you coping? You have family out in New York.
Yes, I've got family that are, my family's up and down the eastern seaboard. My parents they're right in the thick of it. But I live here in Vancouver with my wife and kids. I think we really had a chance to reflect on what's important and really kind of slow down a little bit and take a look at life and what we want out of it.
Well, it's fantastic that you're giving back. Now, you've been very busy. We've seen that delivery truck out and about visiting local hospitals.
Yes, we've donated to 4 hospitals that are in our area here, and one of our core values is to stay connected. And part of staying connected is to be community builders. So it's important for us to give back. We've heard a lot of stories about masks being sewn and respirators being made. We don't know how to do any of that, but we do provide some great furniture, and we wanted to be able to have a place for the frontline workers to just take a break, put their feet up, have a little relaxation during a long, long day. I had the opportunity to be in Langley the day that the 2 chairs were delivered to the Langley Memorial, and the applause that we got, they kept saying thank you to us. We kept saying thank you to them.
Lazy Boy is just one example of businesses reaching out to help out during COVID. Dean Atwell in Surrey.
Still ahead on Carpe Diem.
until a vaccine is found. The way that a salon, the way that a restaurant operates is going to be very different. We will be facing a new economy as we reopen.
CARPe diem, seizing the day for Canadians as we age.
Welcome back. In our last segment, we look to the future. We spoke with Anita Hoberman from the Surrey Board of Trade for her predictions. Retail, what next?
We are looking at a new economy. Some businesses like salons, restaurants, etc., will not make it, and others will in mitigated ways. The provincial and federal government programs have helped support these businesses, but definitely in the short term, until a vaccine is found, the way that a salon, the way that a restaurant operates is going to be very different. We will be facing a new economy as we reopen post-pandemic.
What seems to be the need from the businesses right now? What are they saying to you? Hey, I need help with this.
Support for workers. We heard in mid-March, I'm going to have to lay off all of my workers. I need that wage subsidy to come in, and applications opened more recently. I need more cash flow. I need to liquidate my assets. I need to reduce my debt burden. How do I do that? All of those pieces are the top two questions that we are receiving.
And what about from consumers? What are they saying to you?
Well, consumers understand that we are in a global pandemic. And so they know that, they do have to mitigate their spending habits. Consumer confidence, though, has declined and will decline even post-pandemic. I think you're going to see consumers very cautious in their spending habits.
What sectors do you think, in your experience, are going to flourish? And which ones do you think perhaps are just not going to be so quick to bounce back?
The construction development sector, that's going to be on an upswing. Manufacturing, agricultural, innovation, that's going to be on an upswing. Our frontline workers, healthcare, grocery stores, all of that is going to be on an upswing. I just think, unfortunately, our small businesses are going to take the brunt of the hit. And we've come to realize as a nation that the margins are so thin month to month. We have to support these small businesses, support entrepreneurialism, because they do provide jobs back into the economy. And you know what? Our economy will get back to where it was, but it's going to be a different economy. Don't expect things to go back to the new or back to the old way of doing.
What are your final thoughts?
My final thoughts are that whatever it looks like for the future, we're going to be facing a new economy. This is a time for innovation. And whenever we're facing change, it's how you respond to that change. You can have great fear, great anxiety, and that's normal. But always think about the opportunity that lies therein.
Well, I love the message of hope, and you're an uplifting person. I'm so glad that we had a chance to talk.
Thank you.
As Anita was saying, small businesses depend on our support. My colleague Kerr Junos went to visit Ritz Catering to find out how friends can help.
It's been a couple of weeks since I've actually had to come back to JoyTV and pick anything up from the station, but I can't help but think about the place I'd often go when I forgot to pack a lunch. It's called Ritz Catering and Grill, currently a pared-down family operation due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Businesses are adapting, many to online services. Grocery stores are offering more online pickup and delivery spots, and delivery services are seeing higher demand. This is the changing landscape that restaurants like Ritz Grill are navigating.
Now, like some other local businesses, Ritz Grill has their own online order form that I usually use to get my lunch. I'm going to give Chef Stu a video call here and just see how he's doing.
We've only got myself, my wife, and through my 3 older kids. I have 4 kids, so my 3 older are helping us in the kitchen as well. So
Thank you.
It's changed dramatically. Anybody that was ordering lunches, we were still good to go with the 50 people. Once they took that away, everything is gone. No catering at all. We are just basically relying right now on the restaurant and these meals on the go.
Businesses have been finding new ways to operate by adapting to the needs of their customers.
We have older folks that just want them dropped off. Firemen are taking them, frontline workers. All people like I do a lot of riding for Ride to Conquer Cancer. So my Riders for Riders teammates has just been phenomenal coming in and helping me.
Stewie, Jason. Man, we've done a lot of riding together, you know, side by side, through all the crappy weather, all the mind-numbing kilometers, and then another good friend of mine said, hey, why don't we try and offer a delivery service? I just popped it out to the team and said, hey guys, take some time off from cooking and support Ritz Grill at the same time. I'll pick up your meals, I'll deliver them to your doorstep.
We're all helping our neighbors, we're all helping each other. So my thing is we're gonna come out better off for that.
You can follow your favorite local businesses on social media and see if they have any delivery or online store options. It might just keep your favorite place around when this pandemic is over. For CARPe diem, I'm Kerr Junos.
I'm a very strong believer in supporting local businesses and suppliers at the best of times, but especially now. And I hope that you agree. I want to thank my guests for their insights. And if you want to see a conversation happen here, please get in touch. And that's our show. Remember that, as our CARPe president, Moses Neimer, always says, the best way to keep going is to keep going. So, CARPe diem and seize your day.